And then
We're supposed to have a library period like
no.
okay, no problem. We can read just that. But we do have library period issues doing what they normally do.
Small jar.
I think we're last time.
But she only has one bubble.
I agree. I don't updated what we said.
That's right, that's fine, but just a quick warning.
One will be coming out period 3. David, Paul's can't have a library.
Supposed to.
Sorry?
Paul's can't have a library for period 1.
Or are you going to go downstairs?
Yeah.
Yes, downstairs something. I think that would be great fun.
I think they like that too. Like we are.
Come on, Gary, go. I know, but yeah,
You're going to be just here.
yeah, yes, I know.
That's how I feel too.
Yeah.
You were.
Exactly. Oh, exactly. I can smile very well. And when I come back,
And you'll have your
yeah, and I can see anyway, you're never going to get any muscles if you don't do that. Come on, darling girl. Yeah, but I decided that wouldn't work because they'll always just be in a heat. So these 4 hours, I did this. But otherwise, just throw them away, I think.
I didn't expect this summer to work like breeze. Yeah. Yes, finish.
Thank you. Technology's got to the best.
This looks like more like a party today. Can I be a parent? I am a parent. Can I just be a parent for today?
You weren't one.
No, I never forget. David, there's no way to forget. Even when I wish I could.
Resillient.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know how many offices it ran to me.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, well, yeah, I should have.
Can you try using other browsers? I need to be. Can you see from inside? Outside my tablet. You go like public, right? Definitely it's like public. Can you see that now? Can I see? No. No, this one? Yeah, now we are streaming now. Yeah.
I believe Friday decision. I believe they are. Yes. This is with the heat.
I've got a finely cultivated taste tonight.
Yeah. Come on. That's working. Okay, together.
Now, do you want me to put
Okay,
these
no
out
problem, baby.
in front of them? You know how you told me to take on account.
I always love you. Only you pretend not to love me. That's all. Bye.
They can't understand.
Thanks, Margaret.
You want me to talk or something?
Please.
Okay.
How's this?
Yeah. Your boss looking for you. AV team. AV. Mark, mine Sudan. Swimming. Okay. Hey, thanks, bro.
Đã ra cái ảnh kho bố à? U à? Với tùy hộ. Nhưng mà qua một tiền. Nhưng mà qua một tiền.
Mazal. Ha?
Ambil gambar buat pas.
Ha? Tak boleh buat.
Junction sama
Boleh?
Tamrin.
Boleh tu?
Boleh.
Tunggulah, orang tengah sibuk. Tak ada.
Cepat timing.
Tak boleh, tak boleh.
So many cleaner here. Do fast one. I want show. Hah? Cepat dah.
Tak boleh, not today. I will tell you all. Ni hari tak boleh weekend punya.
Bila besok boleh.
2 tahun lagi.
Ni abang jungle abang. Tu bang.
Sini. Betul, tak boleh. Sekarang tak boleh tengah sibuk. Nanti cakap dengan mencing.
Mencing ya.
Saya bilang mencing.
Boleh lah.
Saya mencing, nanti mencing cakap okey.
Okey.
Saya paper tak ada dalam tangan.
Paper di sini dah sayang.
Itu dia pasal lah. Pada I tak ada.
Iya ke? Paper yang tu
Kenapa dia tak ada?
Saya kan kasih kita ni abang.
Kenapa dia tak ada? Dia takut. Kan? Kan?
Paper kita.
Live. YouTube.
Waduh, saya tak rasa.
Tahu pun. Ya, deh.
Nanti tanya abang.
Yep.
You want to refill those jars through the board?
Yes.
Yes, absolutely. No worries.
I haven't got off task. Okay, yep.
I'm waiting for you.
No.
No, how to see here? Yeah, put it. Hey, I thought it was coming. I thought it was you, you know or not? So I didn't come to you. Are you going now? I didn't want to talk to you. I didn't come to see you. I didn't do it too. I'm waiting for you to use the phone. I told her, that's what the day I want to get her camera. Then you come down. Look how rude she is now.
She don't even dare come to me.
Now she didn't come to me already. I said,
I don't give face to her.
I told her, I'm waiting for you to use the phone letter.
Wireless battery is weak. The wireless mic is going to be weak. The battery. Are you guys using the wireless mic?
Can you check, Carl? Thanks, man. Okay.
Baby, 2, 1, check, 1, 2, baby.
Bro, I'm hungry, I'm thirsty. There's a little already. This
Hey.
up and down, up and down. What okay? For me, it's not okay. I said to take the table setting off because it's in one packet. Different design also don't want to make anymore. But they don't want to sign, no. They draw sticker for me, they want to sign. Don't sign, don't take.
You gotta be hard. You gotta be hard with them.
Somehow in front of TS, I put it in front of TS. Having this is the sample. Then who is going to take? I said, I keep here the sign. You want to draw? Sign. He said, he said the children put just yesterday I showed him the photo. Then before you see anything, you blame the children. And give excuse. I said, nobody want you to play. I don't never take care. I said, how many stockings already damaged? How many stockings? And you just go and take my stocking and throw here, throw there. Bring some inside and return me. I will check in the condition. Here's the
No choice.
no choice. No choice. I said, I let all the stocking I throw back to them, ask them to take care. The children, I don't care. It's all the pupil and signage all under them. They will be late because it's not free. As a day half day. You go hospital again. Which doctor? The one lah, is a baby doctor. Call then how? Yeah, correct. Then how is she now? Yeah, infection again. So now how? But the most important ask them to take no cold water, all this nothing. Then now she's back home.
I came back this morning and about
This early morning is send her. But your daughter is staying on her own, correct? But it's near to your place, close to your house. So you drive her all to the hospital.
I've been take her from Woodlands
And you actually. So now she's okay lah.
resting at home.
Then how many days MC?
啱啱我擠咗個垃圾桶度，呢度。好，嗱，哦，做咩咧？
So how many days? So many days MC? Ask her to take a rest. You need to. Not in the night time, she will disturb. My brother, he got the operation about 15 years ago. But now everyone is still every month, never day. He has to go to the strict problem. that's the English book. For life, why not the medicine? We have such a big book. You know the one I don't know what color. He was in Shanghai. Then he had high fever and he was hospitalized. He cannot do anything. So when the fever subsided, he said this send him back. Ambulance waiting for him. Then straight away the next 2 days all the observation. And after that he was in the ICU. Here, there, until he saw his I don't know they're upset. Every year, every month for life. I don't know which one. But after luckily for this video I became lucky got a lot of then my boss is good. Boss continue to work the life only the hospitalization like the one they allow me to one to one. Grandfather's funeral. I was remember when. No, it's like they're not going young one. One is going young. So okay, how blue ah? Can ah? No, that's also okay.
learning developing the resilience.
Hi there, how you going? I just go. Okay. Let's go, buddy.
Yeah, guys.
Oh, thank you. I will. Thanks.
Thank you.
Grab a seat. Up the front.
Good morning, everyone. And welcome again. Welcome back to some of you. Some of you are very familiar faces. And we have some brand new faces today. And this is our first time running this teaching and learning school. My name is Carol Howard. I'm the Deputy Head of Elementary. I'm really only here to welcome you today. I'm not the expert. I'm going to hand you over to the experts in a moment. Developing resilient children. Now, after my experience yesterday, I think I'd like to add something to that. Sorry, I'm going off script. And resilient parents. Because do you ever remember that moment? I had this moment with Damon, my eldest, who's now 18 and at University of Canberra, at ANU, and you get handed your baby. First time, Dad's first time, and you think, here's a human, and no one's made any mistakes with it yet. Is that just a mother thing, or is that a dad thing? And then you have this time and this journey where you're trying to make the very best world for the most precious person in your life. And I remember that with Damon so vividly. And he's 18 now at ANU, and he rings me up yesterday. He goes, he's doing a double degree, engineering and science with theoretical physics, so he's a deep thinker. And he says, we've been building our project, it's a Mars rover, is what they're building in first year uni for engineering. My team has dumped me, they've taken all my work, and they won't communicate with me. The tutor says, I need to talk to the lecturer. What do I do? Now, what does Mum want to do? What does Carol Howard want to do? I want to get on that plane. Okay, I want to get to ANU. I want to tell the lecturers they don't know anything about teaching children, because they're not children, they're adults. And I want to go and yell at those kids and say, how could you do this to my most precious child? It's what I want, it's within me, okay? But I had to take a step back and I had to listen to him last night as we had this conversation. Well, Damon, what do you think you should do? Mum, I think a meeting is probably better than an email. You've got it. What are you going to say? I don't really know. And we just talked through what he could say. He came up with his ideas. I came up with mine. He made a list and he said, okay, I'm going to do that tomorrow. And I went, wow, where did you come from? Because at 18, there's no way I could have done that. I just couldn't have. And I think, when I think about that, is his life at university perfect today? Absolutely not. In fact, it's tough. We have no family really in Canberra, he's on his own. But does he have the skills to confront what is a challenging situation and move forward? He's got a lot of them. He needs some scaffolding from me, but he's got a lot of them. So that's why I say today, I'm so thrilled that you're here today. I wanted to share my experience with you of having an 18-year-old in another country and to let you know that I really still would prefer to be on the plane in some ways, but I'm not, and I'm here. So when you see building resilient children, I really feel it's building resilient parents too, because it's, one goes hand in hand. Now, enough from me. I'd like to introduce you to three much more important people. So first of all, David Caney. Many of you will know him. He is our Assistant Head of Elementary for Wellbeing. We have Alison Percy, who is one of our school counsellors, and Sue Baines, who is one of our other school counsellors. And if you think the world is small, when Sue first came to us, she kind of went, Carol! Because in my first leadership position ever, Sue was the school counsellor at the school, and she had to share an office with the messiest, greenest leader she's probably ever met. So life's small, the planet is small. Enjoy this morning. I'm going to hand over to David.
Thank you, Carol. And we haven't finished, we're just starting. just to start with, we'll have a chance to move around about halfway through the session. If you need to move around and stretch your legs during the session, please do, in the pod areas. You'll also notice that the children from these two classrooms will be in and out during the morning, so that's just normal. So if you've been here for a session before, that's normal. If your phone goes off and you need to take that call, please go and take that call. The slides or the information that we're sharing today we'll put up on our website as well. Okay, so anybody who speaks that can't be here, you can relate it to them. I wanted to start today with just having mindful moments. Now, as an adult, a 55-year-old man, I really do value my mindful moments about how I can map my day out, what my next steps will be, because particularly in welfare, looking after your children, things don't go always to plan, from minute to minute, hour to hour, day to day. But I had a mindful moment, as I do most mornings, in the grab cab on the way to work. And one particular morning last week, I jumped in and I closed my eyes and I was tapping to the music, 95.1 or 92.3, one of those stations, and the taxi driver couldn't see me tapping my foot because I was sitting behind him. And then the first intersection, he stopped the car and he got into his glove box and he pulled out a CD. And I thought, oh, here we go. And he's pressed play and on comes Willie Nelson and John Denver. I'd been profiled by the guys. An interesting start to my day, that's for sure. So you would have seen that's what we'll be covering today, the importance of resilience, and how we can help us build resilience in children and our partnership with you. But I want to start today just with a bit of mindfulness. So I'd just like you to be in your chair and maybe pull the chair out a bit and just have your feet firmly on the floor. And we're going to do a bit of a body scan for this, and we do this with children as well. So if you just like to lower your eyes, you can close them or just lower them. And just be mindful of your breathing. Quite slow. Feel your heels and your balls of your feet on the floor. Give your calves a bit of a tense. Same with your quads, hamstrings, and your bottom should be firmly in the chair. You can feel the small of your back against the chair. Maybe straighten up and just stretch the back a bit. Just give your stomach a bit of a tense grab as well. Up to your shoulders. Maybe roll the shoulders forward, roll the shoulders back really gently. Tense your biceps. Give your fingers a wiggle. Bring out to our head. Maybe just a couple of left and right turns of the neck, really, really gently, your neck up and down. And now we're going to our brain. Acknowledge the thoughts that you have at this moment. If your thoughts aren't on being at the workshop here this morning, that's okay. But grab those thoughts and just park them for the next hour or so. A couple of final shallow breaths. And bring yourself back to the room, raise your eyes. I think we're good to go.
Thanks, David. That's an exercise that we do a lot with children as well. It's a great one to do at night. They're lying in bed just getting them to tense muscles, maybe starting with their feet and working their way up to their face, or something to tell them to do in the middle of the night if they wake up, just to try and help them relax again. Something that kids can do with a bit of practice by themselves, even as young as 5 or 6. So today, just to put a few parameters on what we're talking about and how we're defining resilience today. So the ability to adapt well in the face of hard times. So sometimes we talk about bouncing back when something goes wrong, and it's something that our kids and we are dealing with every day. You know, little things go wrong, and we have to sort of find a way to move on from them. So why is it important? So there's been a huge amount of research, as you'd be aware, on resilience and how it can support all of us. Just to put it into a few sentences, we know that it reduces the risk of childhood depression and anxiety. We know that it also, as adults, reduces the risk of developing adult mental health issues, so clinical depression, anxiety, and other disorders. And it's a predictor of success. So at school and later, we study at university and also employment later in life. Resilient children adjust better to the various events that happen in their lives. They generally show fewer behavioural problems, and they are more likely to get a cope following trauma. At school we see the resilient children in the way that they deal with their friends, and probably that's one of the things that comes home, issues with friendships and stuff like that. So we find that the kids are a bit more resilient and are able to manage that from day to day. Okay, so what's needed for resilience to develop? So again, quite a lot of research around this. And in order for your child or to be, develop that kind of resilience, then there's a number of things that need to be in place. So having one adult that they can rely on is probably the most important factor. Many studies have shown that for children in various avenues of life, and no matter what their circumstances, that as long as they have one adult that they can totally rely on, then they have the ability to be more resilient. I just want you to just take a second now and think about if your child was here and we asked your child who they would say would be the one adult, they might be adults more, but the one adult that they can totally rely on. Just have a think about it and see who are the types of people that they might name. We all hope as parents that they would name us. Have they got anyone else in their lives that they would say? I'll just give you a second just to have a think about it. I think it's an important one to identify. So sometimes these adults are a tennis coach, swimming coach, scouts, someone like that. Sometimes it's a neighbour or a friend. But what they're doing is they're able to provide reassurance. They're able to encourage your child or the child to keep persevering when things go wrong. And they're also able to identify the strengths in their child. I think that's really important. Sometimes we can fall into the trap of noticing what our children aren't doing, but it's really important to notice their strengths. And we do a lot of that when we're working with children. The idea that we look for the children's strengths and help them use their strengths to manage whatever they're dealing with. The other thing is self-efficacy, so the feeling that they can actually do things, the feeling that they can succeed in what they do. Often as parents, as Carol was alluded to before, we want to step in and do things for them. Because we want it to be right, we want it to work for them, we have the best intentions. But what we're saying is to the kids when we do that is that you're not capable of doing it yourself. So we need to be able to stand back and let kids do things for themselves. And one of the ways we can support that is helping them come up with a realistic plan. So if something has gone wrong on the playground and maybe their friend has said, I'm not going to play with you today, then sit with them rather than, marching up to the teacher, marching up to the head of welfare. Talk to your child about a plan, okay? Think about, okay, well, what could you do? Who else could you play with? Who else do you like in your class? And things like that will help children feel that they are able to solve problems themselves, and helping them come up with a plan or a couple of plans is a really positive way to do that and a good way to build resilience. Confidence, so children who are confident are more likely to be resilient, and confidence is built in allowing children to do what they do best, giving them opportunities to succeed, whether it's on the soccer field or piano, anything like that. We know that children with good communication skills are able to develop resilience or tend to be more resilient, and that's because they're able to talk about what they need and they're able to express themselves clearly and also probably manage difficulties. So obviously that comes around from us at school, teaching these things, and also at home providing opportunities for children to communicate over dinner, that kind of thing. The last one, and probably one of the most important ones, is the ability to self-regulate, so managing their behaviours and emotions. Children have difficulty with this. It's often a hallmark of resilience. And so this is what you'll see, that when something goes wrong, there might be a meltdown or a complete collapse. And that is when, often happens when children have difficulty managing their emotions. So, the things that we can do, and still talk a lot more about how we build resilience, but, little things that you can do, like allowing your child to lose a board game or the card game, rather than letting them win all the time. Things like that, because, they will become disappointed, and sometimes I think, you're in a hurry and it's just tempting to sort of avoid the meltdown, but children need to experience those kinds of things and need to experience a range of emotions in order to learn how to manage them. And so here we talk about, naming the emotions, and we have various strategies that will help to do that, which we'll talk about a little bit later.
So, going back to that point there, having one adult they can rely on, at your tables, can you just discuss who was that person for you when you were growing up? And who would that person be for your son or your daughter, and is that different? Have each at the tables.
Good to know there's lots of conversation about resilient people in your life. And I think they have a huge amount of impact. I think most people remember a teacher or a coach or someone that has helped with that, and is the one person they can rely on. So just as I was talking about before, sometimes we as adults, teachers, parents, adults in general, don't help our children build resilience. And I think anxiety is probably a really good one to have a chat about. So just some of these quotes, when we protect our children from distress or anxiety, we may be inadvertently reinforcing the belief that the problem the child fears really is as bad as they think it is. And our intervention may also disempower them, because we're essentially telling our children they're not skilled or strong enough to deal with the problem on their own. That's sort of what I was talking about before. I think anxiety is one that gets a bit of a bad rap. And often when I start working with children in relation to anxiety, one of the first things I say to them is that you're meant to feel anxious at times, that that's the way that we are built, we're hardwired to do that. And anxiety is actually, in many ways, a protective thing. You want your children to feel anxiety when they're at the beginning of a dark lane at 9 o'clock at night that's really poorly lit. You want them to have that feeling of, this might not be a great situation for me. So we don't want our children to not be anxious at all. We want them to listen to their bodies, and we want them to understand that sometimes anxiety is a good thing. You know, the idea of anxiety before they get up to do a presentation for school or to perform at AIS Has Talent is good. It's the way that their body is saying, okay, I'm getting you ready to perform. I'm getting ready. You know, my heart's going a bit quicker because I'm going to need the energy to do a fabulous performance. So it becomes a problem when it becomes a problem. Okay, when it's interfering in your life, when it's interfering in the family's life, or on the child's life, it stops them from interacting socially or achieving academically. But other than that, anxiety is not necessarily a bad thing, and it's okay for our kids to be a little bit anxious, and as David said before in our mindfulness exercise, you know, to acknowledge those thoughts and then have the ability to sort of put them aside a little bit. I'm going to pass on to Sue now, so give us a few more hints about building resilience.
Can I just say it's wonderful, Alice and I were having a look at the faces before us, and we're so impressed that we've been able to, impart knowledge to you. And please, we are not totally expert, it just is part of what we do on a daily basis. And David, of course, looks over the whole lot of the elementary school. So together, we are actually demonstrating to your children, excuse my teacher here, the secure base and the safe haven is the role of every adult in a child's life. The secure base is where you allow your child to go off and explore, and they're climbing, but the child knows in their own mind that you're watching over them, that you're delighted that they're actually exploring, but they know that you will help them, and they know that you'll enjoy it. And as they then come back to you, in their little minds, they'll be saying, I really do need you to have acknowledged me, and as I'm coming back towards you, you're going to welcome me. Even if I've done something a little naughty, you'll acknowledge that and maybe then give some sort of, explanation as to why it could be too risky. But nevertheless, you're the safe haven. And so your child knows that you'll protect them, comfort, delight, and organise. This last one is a very interesting concept here. As Alison was saying, it's our job as adults to organise the child's feelings. So you, with your detective eyes, you notice your child's face, body language, and you say, I wonder how you're feeling. And being AIS students, they're very quick to tell you exactly how they're feeling. They're very in touch with themselves. And then you can say, maybe that little bit of anger is getting in the way of you completing your little project, or whatever it is. How about we sit down and, as Alison said, plan. So you're organising their headspace, which then organises their task. The bottom line is, and this is for all of us adults, we're bigger, stronger, wiser, and kind. Whenever possible, you follow your child's needs, and as Carol was saying, she was desperately trying to follow her 18-year-old child's needs, but there's a time when we then develop the resilience within the child, but sometimes you need to take charge. So knowing that boundary is the circle of security. Okay. So the strategies then to be used to build this resilience, to bounce back. Alice and I are going to demonstrate. There's actually 4 research parent styles. So the styles, we've got the emotional coaching parent style. That's the tuning in. Then you've got the permissive parent style. Then you've got the dismissive parent style. And then you've got the disappointing style. So we all use a range of those styles, but 60% of the time we're hoping that we're tuning into our children and acknowledging then how to progress from there. So Alice and I will just do this little demo of an emotional coaching. We'll do the emotional coaching and the dismissive style and see what you can pick up, and then we'll get you just to have a chat with each other about it. So I'm Mum and this is dear Christine. Hey Chrissy, just reminding you about the Christmas party on Friday night. We have to leave at 5:30. Did you hear me, Chrissy?
Did you say this Friday?
Yeah, I told you 1 month ago we are all going.
But that's the night that Rose is having her sleepover.
Oh, you can go to the sleepover anytime. It's the family Christmas party. All your cousins will be.
But I really want to go.
You girls have sleepovers all the time.
No, you don't. But it's the first time I've been over to Rose's.
Well, I would have thought that our family Christmas party would take private pleasure.
It's not that, I just don't want to go sandwich.
Well, it's not even a question. I told you 4 weeks ago, family's party.
Whatever.
So then we go to the idealist. And of course you're using this 60% of the time. You don't expect perfection. So, hey Crystal, just reminding you about the Christmas party on Friday night. We'll have to leave around 5:30. Did you hear me?
Did you say this Friday?
Yeah, I told you 1 month ago we are all going.
Well, that's the night that Rose is having her sleepover.
It's the Christmas party.
I really want to go.
Sounds like the sleepover is really important. What did you say was happening? Who did you say was happening?
Rose, she's a new girl at school and she's really great at getting on everything and everyone else. Tina's new favourite slots, and this is the first time I'm watching it.
So it feels kind of important that you go. Do you want to be with Tina as well as Rose? I imagine you don't want to feel better.
Yeah.
Are you okay about Tina and Rose being out together?
Sort of. I think Tina and I are still good friends, but I really want to miss out on being there on Friday night.
And it's the same. Hello. And it's okay. So, and it's the same night as our Christmas party. That's kind of disappointing for me because I really like us all going together. But I do understand that it's important for you to go to the sleepover. What could we do?
Could I go to the Christmas party for a little while and then go to Rose's sleepover?
Yes, that would be really like. I'd really like you to come to the Christmas party. I guess we could drop you off at 11. Would that be okay with Rose? How about an alternative?
Yep, that sounds good.
So, have a little chat between yourselves, between the difference between and the advantages and disadvantages of first the dismissive parent and then the last one, the tuning in or the emotional coaching. Just a few minutes just to chat about those two scenarios. PhD in parenting for a trillion years, you will default to how you were parented. So bear that in mind, that you have learnt over the years from your parents how they responded to you, and you will replicate that pattern if you don't tune into your own emotions and then think about the consequences of that. So I use an example over here, and in today's social media world, I think we've even got to be more in tune with ourselves, because if you text a message to your child, your first hot thought, it's there in writing on the screen, and they'll carry it around the whole day going, look what my mother texted me. And that will then imprint, obviously, and that will just blow it all up. So you really do have to, if you can, calm down and tune into yourself. That's the resilience. So this diagram, it comes from a fabulous school program that's used in many schools called the You Can Do It program. So I'll acknowledge that. This is what they used to call Metalhead. And Metalhead is about, and children, we use this here with the children. So what's happening in the outside world, first of all you think about it, and then you feel, and then you behave. So cognitive behaviour therapy is based on this model that your thinking drives your feelings, drives your behaviour. And if you want to change your behaviour, then you have to actually retrace your steps. So if you're behaved in a way that is very positive towards your child and an issue, then all well and good. But if you've behaved in a way that hasn't been helpful, then you have to track it back to how you were feeling. You need to check in with your own feelings. What did it trigger in you? What was I thinking at the time? And maybe next time I need to, as David was showing you, actually do a bit of mindfulness, go for a walk around the block, go for a swim in your condo pool, whatever it is that you can then regulate your emotions, so then your thinking can be clear, you feel reasonably in tune, and then you behave accordingly. And your child will reflect that. So the thinking drives the feeling, drives the behaviour, not the other way around. Okay, Rothberg is a psychologist working in the United States, and she has the theory, and I'll acknowledge Black Dog Institute. It's got fabulous resources for all manner of anxiety and difficulties in life, if you like. For personal resilience, we really do need to have our children develop the I have. And then, of course, within ourselves as parents, the I have. And Alison's talked all about this. People around me I trust, love, no matter what. So that unconditional love. People who set limits and know when to stop before there is danger or trouble. And that's when you're the parent that actually is a very directive parent. Your children will require you to set very firm boundaries when it's dangerous. People who show me how to do things right, the right way, and the way that you should be doing things. People who want me to learn to do things on my own, and that brings in independence. And people who help me when I'm sick, in danger, or I need to learn. And of course our teachers, every lesson and every day, do all of those things that build the I have in your child. Now the other two are also necessary, but you don't need the whole three to be a totally resilient child or person. I am a person who can like and love, glad to do things for others and show my concern, respectful of myself and what to do, and sure things will be all right. So that's your optimism through your identity and being a little person all by themselves. And don't forget, this doesn't start till about 7. So before 7, the children are more in that they really need you. The I can is the initiative and the industry that we build up through your interaction with the school. Talk to others about things that frighten or bother me, find ways to solve problems, control myself, figure out things, and be able to talk to people and find action, and then find someone to help me when I need it. So Rockburg was about needing the I have, for sure, and then one of the other two. So again, it's not an idealistic model, it's the ground stones, if you like, the fabric of having a resilient child. So, few strategies, tuning into your child's emotions, as I was demonstrating with Chrissy there, and observing their body language, and making sure, that it's a side-by-side, and that goes into the emotional talk time. That's when, and I noticed some of the parents I was talking, in bed. So you're lying next to them in bed, that's your classic side-by-side, or on the lounge curled up. Usually not opposite, because that usually is a bit of an aggressive stance, especially if it's a boy and a mother, or a father and a daughter. So usually, and the mother is usually side by side with both. Alice and I, of course, use that technique all the time. We very rarely sit opposite a boy. It'll be side by side when we're talking with them. We talked about Rockburg's paradigm and strategies that will help your child cope with the ups and downs of life. I'm going to give you a few pearls here.
Okay, this is something that we use often at school. Most of your children should be aware of it. We do it from prep, certainly work with prep so 5 or 6 up to year 5, so catastrophe scale. Also, I think is well known, but also I think part of it came from the You Can Do It program as well. So the idea of the catastrophe scale is to, we work with children and we basically say to them, okay, this is great for kids who really like resilience, but okay, what's the worst ever thing that can happen? And a little bit, people can sometimes cringe about this with children who can get a bit anxious. Trust me, it's totally fine. Ask your child what they think the worst ever thing will happen. They'll probably say things like natural disasters. Sometimes they'll say plane crashes or something like that, but mostly they'll say natural disasters. You don't have to linger on that if you're not comfortable talking about it, but normally we get them to start there. And then we talk about different scenarios that happen. Say, okay, so if that's the worst thing ever, what would be, if you couldn't find your pencil in class? And most of them go, oh, that's not really a problem, I'll just go and get another one. Okay, so we mark it in and we write all over the scale, we mark that in as a number 1. They'll say, okay, so what about if you accidentally got your brother's lunch instead of your lunch? And they'll be like, some of them will say, oh, that's really bad because my brother likes, Vegemite and I can't stand it. But most will say, oh, that's not so bad. I can just go to my brother's classroom and fix it. So they might say that's 1 or 2 or something like that. And you go through various scenarios and you try and relate it to the child. Okay, so what happens if your best friend isn't at school today? How bad is that? And you rate things on the scale. And mostly what I do is I try to sort of put them in perspective and I say, you know what, the ones that are sort of 3 or 2 or lower are things that you can probably sort out yourself. Go and get your own pencil, do that kind of thing. Maybe the things in the middle, maybe 5, 6 or 7, there might be something that you need an adult to help you with. Okay, maybe you've fallen over, maybe you've cut yourself, and you need to go and see the nurse or you need a band-aid or something like that. And then the things that are 8, 9 and 10 are the bad things that hopefully don't happen very often, and but things that you need to get an adult straight away or things that you'll need some help with. And the catastrophe scale, the way that you rate things also relates to the size of the reaction. So we don't expect that there'll be a huge tantrum if something is rated at a 1 or a 2. And we talk about what would be the appropriate response. Most kids say, oh, well, probably I don't need to do anything, or maybe they need to take a deep breath. So we write that down on part of the scale. This is what I'm going to do if this happens. In the middle of the scale where they need their parents to help and they've cut themselves, they might say, oh, I might cry a little bit, but I don't know if I'd scream and have a tantrum if I cut my finger, okay? But I might cry because it might hurt. Okay, well that probably sounds reasonable. And then of course, if something at the top happens, we would expect that people are very upset, and adults would be upset, that children would be upset. So we try and put this is our way of trying to put these things into perspective for our kids. Just as an example, could you just look at that? This is the beginning of one that was done with a prep class, I think last year sometime. And so with this particular one, sorry, it's on dark blue, it's a bit harder to see, but we had the scale and we had some scenarios as preps and had lots of pictures. And then the children helped us place things in different ways. So you can see there's a volcano, there's a broken arm and a snake and pencils and various things, lunch was wrong or something like that. And then what the children did is they drew pictures for their own scenarios. So we brainstormed some scenarios, they drew pictures. So later on this was absolutely covered with different pictures of what kinds of things happen, you know, the soccer ball got lost or went up on the roof or something like that. And then they placed them. And that teacher in that class would refer back to those, that catastrophe scale regularly, things would happen in class, and she'd, where is that on the scale? And think about, you know, what kind of solution is required there. So just flip back to the original. Okay. So on your table in front of you somewhere, you have a catastrophe scale. And it's just lovely to take a few minutes to have a chat about it. Think about how maybe you would approach that with your children. Think about how your children might rate various things. If you find that your child is rating things particularly high, when you know that they're small things, that's probably a sign that they've got a bit of a resilience problem and they need a little bit of work on that. And what I find when I work with children is that it does change over time, that they become a bit more realistic when you keep kind of coming back to it. But yeah, have a chat about that and how that could be used. Thanks. feels like volunteering some thoughts about the catastrophe scale or their thoughts on that, how that can be used, or anyone used it before? Who was that? Sorry. Yeah, it's a great technique. I would actually encourage you to do it with family. It'd be really interesting to get the family together, dad, whoever else, brothers and sisters, and do it together and just see, because I think it's great for, when I do it with a class, I get, probably the children get a lot more out of it than if they're just doing it just with me, because they'll get feedback from their friends. So if they're saying, oh yeah, getting my brother's lunch, that's the word, that's no, that's three. And the other kids go, no, it's not, and then actually the impact of that. So if you're doing it with the family, the siblings will give their feedback, and they'll be, obviously different ages and stuff, so that's useful too. Because you'll notice that obviously at different ages, kids have different perspectives on those kind of things. And you've got to take that into account. And sometimes they're immovable in terms of how bad they think something is, and sometimes you can set it aside and then come back to it later and say, oh, about this, do you still think that? And often they've changed their thoughts about it. So yeah, it's a fabulous tool. I'll just hand over to Sue.
Okay, so this is another technique that we use a lot actually. So you've got a copy on your table, and it's about helpful and unhelpful, or red and green, and negative and positive thinking that you actually say in your head. Yesterday I did this with a Year 4 student, and we talked about the cockatoo on the shoulder giving good advice that was helpful, and then the cockatoo on your other shoulder giving you unhelpful advice. And what you listen to, and with sort of some deep breathing, thinking about what advice. So if you fold the paper in half, you will see the thought process will affect the facial feature. So you will see that the negative, unhelpful or red thoughts create a face that is certainly not going to assist a child making and keeping friends. And then the opposite happens when the thoughts, again using the cognitive behaviour therapy technique, your thoughts will drive your feelings, will drive your facial behaviours. So we talk to the children about, all right, if you've got unhelpful thoughts going through your mind, this is what your face usually looks like. Is that going to help you in the playground when you go up and say, can I play with you? So we then talk about thinking, well, that cockatoo on my shoulder could give me some positive, green or helpful ideas. And my face will change to something that's going to give social smarts. We talk about that a lot at this school too. And you will be much more friendly or able to, join in with your friends. And that's the same, of course, with parenting. If you have this going through your mind as you're about to approach your child, your face will tell the story. Your child will tune into your face that looks like that, and then you will have the consequence. So you'll then think, well, all right, you'll think helpful thoughts, because your thinking drives your face, remember that. And so unless you're very good at the fake face, which of course we all are, but with children, they will be able to recognise it. So you've got to be genuine about your thinking, how you're planning to build resilience in your child. So you're modelling. So often I do the two colouring in. I get the child to pick a colour that they don't like today. They will colour in the face and the unhelpful thinking, and then a colour that they like today, and then you open it up and you can see the two. And then you could have that on your fridge, along with Alison's catastrophe scale, as a reminder, as something helpful. All right. So the first dot point is what I've just gone through. Other coping skills. The old slinky, right? I did a bit of research on that. This was actually invented by mistake. It was actually an engineer that was doing something with a car. So it's that spring that's in the car body. And what he then turned it into a toy, and it's very, very popular with kids. So we talked about bouncing back. So you could have one of these near your fridge again, or near the bedside, and just use it as a tool. Going, well, it looks like you're stretched with your emotions. Let's deep breathe, do some techniques, and bring it back to something that's stable. The other thing that I often use is a pipe cleaner. So again, you just wrap it around your finger, and then you can use it as a bit of a slinky spring too. But you guys are very creative and inventive. You'll come up with something that shows bouncing back, and you know, you can just have that. I mean, kids walk around with that in their pocket. It's quite interesting as well. So then we've got this magnificent thing that you're going to create yourself. You're going to create a glitter jar. So you have one jar each on your table. We have gold glitter. This is a huge debate between the three of us what colour glitter we would give you. It's very serious discussion. And so you need, and we decided half a teaspoon of glitter, and then you fill your jar half, and so you'll have your own glitter jar. This glitter, I'm just showing in a bigger model. So the glitter represents your thoughts and feelings when you're very confused, upset, angry, distressed, sad, mad or bad as we call it. And then you need to calm that thought pattern so your clear mind can then make good decisions. We also are realistic in that the glitter is your thoughts and feelings. You can't get rid of them. You can make them if you like, contained or in a place that you can deal with it later on. But the glitter jar, you can Google glitter jar. It's been around for a long time. Teachers have used it, but it's a very good device that just have a handy for your child, and of course you're role modelling. Of course, you come home upset and you talk to your child about having your thoughts and feelings doing this, and you need to do your breathing to calm and cool and just let things settle. And the quote, this quote here, you'll get an article, if you let cloudy water settle, it will become clear. So that's just a demonstration of that. So we will give you 3 or 4 minutes to make your glitter jar, there's water there, and to grab something to eat. Over there? Yes, so just half a teaspoon of glitter in half a jar of water. Put the lid on tightly, and that's ready to go. Grab a cup of tea.
we've got a few
Yeah, but the problem is that
they've got the glitter jar, and this strategy is for you and your child, and the whole idea again is to use the time for the glitter to settle and explain to your child that you can't make the helpful, green, positive decisions if your thoughts and feelings are doing that. It's impossible. And you need time, either mindfulness, deep breathing, take a little walk, just staring at it to calm and clear your thoughts. Then you can make your decision. I've also said that when your thoughts and feelings are doing this, and this is everyone, you usually say and act, so you're thinking, driving your whole being, half your age. So if you make decisions in this state, the decision and the language that one uses is usually half your age. So, you know, when kids are having a temper tantrum, it's usually because that's what's going on in their thinking. And when you say four-letter words while you're driving, because your thoughts and feelings are doing this, it's because your thinking is, being compromised somewhat. So again, you can gauge that. The article, The Art of Stillness, is also in your little bundle. And interestingly enough, I kept this from my last time I was here in Singapore. It's a 2015 from the Straits Times, and it just sums up the glitter jar. And the whole thing is that you find a spot that you can actually clear your mind. In Singapore, it could be, I've just actually found a spot in our condo where there's a beautiful pond with carp. So you can just go and look at the carp swimming around. You don't need anything expansive like the Aussie bush, but something that has the colour green or blue, or just a clear space. We've taken our children here out into this little forest that we've got right at our doorstep, and that is an excellent example of finding a spot just to be. And you know, that art of stillness is something that you culture within yourself and your children as you're role modelling it. And we do it every day here in the elementary school. Is it 10 minutes? Yeah, 10 past 12 to 20 past 12. We actually practice what we're role modelling to you, what we're hoping you role model to your children, the art of stillness. And each class will do it differently, depending on how the teacher's in tune with their class. Okay? Thank you.
Okay, what we do at AIS, hopefully a lot for your children, and hopefully you see that. Through positive education, and the PERGA model developed by Martin Seligman, positive engagement, positive emotions, positive relationships, positive meaning in what children are doing at school, positive achievement, positive accomplishment. So we're weaving that through our units of inquiry at the primary school. Circle time as needed, so the teachers will actually be working with children, individual children, groups of children, the whole class, on a range of issues that might come up from the playground or just in their life in general. The mindfulness, the teachers draw on a massive range of resources for their mindfulness activities with their children that they have between 10 past 12 and 20 past 12, as Susan just mentioned. And these look different in all the different classes. It's not just one model fits all. The different activities that the teachers are choosing for their groups of children are based on what they think their needs are. The emotional thermometer we've used at the elementary school. It's sort of quite similar to the catastrophe scale. Our restorative reflection. So if you're here during the school day, you will quite often see teachers having a discussion with children around issues that might be coming up in their learning or in their life, just in the playground or just at AIS. We feel that through this dialogue, children can develop resilience, they can develop empathy, and find meaning in the work that they're actually doing or a conversation that they're having and how it's related to them moving forward and growing as a person. The Social Smarts program, can you talk to that, Susan?
Yes, we run social skills programs at most year levels, so prep to year 4 at the moment, sort of based on need. So some students are included in those programs, and we also run it in classes as well. Based on the work of Michelle Garcia-Winner, who has a fabulous range of resources. If you're interested in finding out a bit more, it's socialthinking.com. Program is there, but it's based on, it uses things like the catastrophe scale, they call it the size of the problem. It's ideas about the fact that people are thinking about you and that your behaviour impacts the way that people think about you. It talks about whole body listening, hidden agendas or hidden sort of social rules that, you know, children walk into a library and the hidden rule is, it might not be a sign to say be quiet, but the rule is be quiet, and they have to look around, yes, everyone else is doing something quietly, so I should be quiet as well. So just all those kind of expected things. So fabulous kind of for children, especially those who find it a little bit difficult to kind of work out social situations, but for all our kids as well.
And fluid groups as well, right? Yeah. So in students as leaders, how we develop resilience in them. So we have at the upper elementary end of the school, we have our school captains, of course. We have our house captains. We have a student representative council. We have our cultural ambassadors now. We have our elementary school action group as leaders, and our lower elementary leaders in year 2. And those, it's really difficult for these young children. There's 24 children in the class and they all want to be a lower elementary leader or they want to be a captain. It's difficult difficult for some children to accept that, okay, they might have come second or third or they didn't quite get it, but you know, these situations are very well explained by the classroom teachers as well, plus also their buddies, about like, no, try next time, try next time. The enhanced PYP, the curriculum framework that we work with, also focuses a lot on student agency, about students having a voice in their learning, which is we find really important. And I just want to just explain the structure. I'm not quite sure if everyone's really aware of where we sit here at AIS. So Mr. Neil Smith, the head of elementary, and the elementary leadership team, the ELT, is formed by Mr. Smith, Mrs. Howarth. Then there are 5 assistant heads, which I'm one of them. Miss Amy Paul, Miss Emma McCauley, Mr. Luke Mackay, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, and Ian Ward as well. Sorry. Yeah, and Ian Ward. And then on that one, the AHEW assistant head elementary welfare, and I work closely with Alison and Susan. And also the heads of year for welfare and administration, that's what the HOYS W&A are. And every year level has a head of year for welfare and admin. And we meet weekly, and also with the head of learning enrichment and also the school nurse, because the school nurse can also give us some information on how children are travelling in a confidential manner. And that's us as a group. Now before we leave you today, I know that some of you might still have some burning questions. This is Percy, Alison Percy and Sue Baines and myself will be here for a while, probably for the next 20 minutes. We also have a reflection sheet on your table. We'd love your feedback. I'm hoping that like the voice of the VOP, the voice of the parent, is another way for us to get feedback. Having some feedback on what's happening today is really important to us. And also, in that feedback, maybe some suggestions for further workshops as well, okay? So we do listen to what you say, but before you start your reflections, I'd just like to run you through some 3-breath mindful breathing. No, 3-breath gratefulness breathing. So if we can just assume the spot maybe you did before, at the start of the session. Just get comfortable. I find it like having your hands on your knees is a good thing. Sit in the chair, lower your eyes, you may want to close them. And we're going to be having 3 breaths. The first breath, I'd like you to think about what you're grateful for in this session you had this morning. The second breath, your gratefulness to a person very close to you. Could be a husband, wife, family, friend. And the third breath, how grateful you are living in Singapore. So first deep breath, grateful about being here this morning. Second breath, gratefulness for our friend. Third breath, grateful about being in Singapore. Okay, bring yourself back to the room, eyes up. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for being here this morning. I know we'll be around for a while. I know it's a big chunk of your morning away from what you might normally be doing. Please take the time to fill out your feedback forms and have a great rest of the day.